I'm gonna solo just the drums. And now everything else. This video is sponsored by DistroKid. If you are an independent artist or producer who's looking to release your own music on official streaming platforms, so platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, all the rest, the best option is DistroKid. I've been using them for over 5 years now and just haven't looked back since. We'll be getting into that later in this video. So you may or may not have heard of this sampling AI tool called RipX, and you guessed it, it rips. It essentially allows you to rip or export individual instruments or stems from any track of your choice. But it's actually not just that. Let's say you want to rip like a melodic part from a track, you're actually able to change those notes without changing the tone of the part that you're ripping. They keep dropping updates as well, so just the technology and like the sonic quality of the stems is getting better and better as time goes on. As for myself and my own setups, I'm still pretty new to like the live set or DAWLESS live performance type of thing. And I'd like to think that I'm leveling up over time. And so the creators of RipX reached out to me at the perfect time. I'm sort of looking for some extra sauce to lay over top, to just drizzle over top of my sets. So I've been thinking maybe like dialogue or vocal quotes, higher pitched melodies, some sort of melodic thing over top of what I already have in my sets. I find that these are all things that at this point are missing. And so obviously before making this video, I've done a little bit of like digging into this. I already know that this is a tool that I'm going to be falling back on for my live sets. And so this is the UI of the software. This is what it looks like. I should let you know that I'm not like a complete expert of using RipX, but I've learned enough to understand and apply the basics of the software into my own setup, into my own music. And so if you're looking for like a full rundown of everything that it's capable of, there is some other content on YouTube for that. I can say that on a basic level, it's super easy to use. It basically took me no time at all to learn how to use it. And so here's the track, Daphni Arrow. I'm just gonna drop it into the software. So it does take a bit of time depending on the information that you want. So I want voice, other sounds and instruments. I just want everything. I want all the stems. And so I'm gonna hit rip and get back to you in about 30 minutes. And just like that, we have all of this information here. Everything is separated onto its own stem. It kind of looks like a bit of a mess right now, but on the left here, you have your separated stems. So this is the voice, piano, which there is no piano in this track, guitar, which I guess is like the synth part, drums and percussion as well, and then as well as other. And so I can mute and solo parts as well. I'm gonna solo the kick drum along with the voice, which is the part that I'd like to rip. Here we go. So of course the quality isn't the same as if someone like gave you the stems to that track. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Let's hear all the drums alone. Percussion and kick drum. Let's hear this. Let's add the bass to that. Or maybe just the bass. And let's check out this little other folder right here. I want to see what's in here. There's even a drop down arrow per voice. So I have some basic EQ here as well as stereo panning. If I want to add some lows, let's say to this percussion part, or maybe highs. Let's try this. Take out some of the highs, mids. Let's say you're in a position where you've already laid down an idea in a specific scale or maybe even a specific key. Well, if you'd like, let's go back to this vocal part again, and I could actually change specific notes within here. So let me say this one. Or I could change the pitch of all of this information here. I just have to select everything, bring it up. And you can do that with any of your parts. I'm gonna select this harmonic information, tune it up. So I'm obviously using this with like modern electronic music. If you're looking to sample in a more standard way, maybe like an MPC style lo-fi thing where all you want to do is remove drums from a specific sample or a specific track, you can of course do that. And the quality is great. In fact, just to give you an example of that, I'm going to drop another track into here. Also, another thing is on the top left, it actually organizes the tracks that you've already dropped in. So for this what to rip, I'm going to keep it really simple: drums and other sounds and instruments. That's all we need for this. Here we go. I'm going to solo just the drums. Pretty good. And now everything else. Guitar. So that's everything else. It's in the guitar tab. You could obviously rename this, I'm assuming. Yeah, you can. Right, so we have drums and everything else separate, and it's pretty damn good. I should also point out that there's a lot of scare around AI, like it's gonna take all of our jobs, but this is a tool that is actually gonna help us, and I think that's just a better way of thinking about it. Let's go back to this Daphni track just because there's a lot more stems. I'm gonna go File, Export. So basically any export combination they've got you, I'm gonna export separate stems for this particular track. Daphni, export, let's go. So this is where you could just keep the stems the way they are, or if you'd like, run them through your setup and kind of turn them into your own thing. But before going into that, let's talk about today's sponsor, DistroKid. Here's a few reasons why you should be using DistroKid as opposed to other music distribution platforms, especially if you're an independent artist or producer. Firstly, they are on the cutting edge of social media and new music promotional tools. They're definitely the pioneers in that sense because their platform depends on people like us, independent artists and producers, to use these tools to promote our own music. The amount of stores or streaming platforms that DistroKid distributes to is insane. And they also keep up to date with smaller or up and coming platforms that you might not even know about or have access to. So a perfect example of this is a platform called KKBox, which DistroKid distributes to. You think that Spotify is my biggest streaming earner, but it's actually not. KKBox is, so thank you DistroKid for keeping track of that. DistroKid does not take a cut. They deliver 100% of streaming royalties to you, no extra charge. Independent artists and producers, there is a reason why DistroKid distributes 1/3 of the world's music, which is insane. Okay, back to the video. So let's go ahead and apply this to my setup. I'm using the Digitac, which is capable of sampling. The SP404 Mark II is also capable of sampling, but I'm just using it as an effects, a texture unit in this case. If I was going in the Ableton Live set direction, these samples would work in a very similar way, obviously. I've already dropped another stem from another track onto the Digitac here, so we're gonna be remixing a bit here. This is what that sounds like. And let's go ahead and add some Digitac flavor to this, maybe some reverb. Definitely some overdrive. Delay, play with the filter a little bit. I'm thinking of adding a tuning LFO in here, like a very subtle one. Whoops. There we go. And then there's the ripped vocal sample. There it is, it's a longer stem. Honestly, not sure if it's gonna fit over this. I'm not sure if it's in the right key. So let's give this a try, put it on to beat 1. Definitely not in the right key. So let's get back to that in a second. I'm just gonna mute that track. Add kick here. Hi-hats. Save that. I am so glad to be using this software. This already sounds great to begin with. So as for this sample here, the vocal sample, I've actually gone ahead and chopped that up into smaller bits that I could add onto steps here. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. So I'm opening up the pattern sequencer, still on track 7, and I know exactly which beat it's gonna be on. It's this one here. Sample, I'm gonna drop this guy. Yes, let's play it. Right, so it's still in the wrong key for now. I'm gonna change that in a second. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back to this guy, tune him up. I'm pretty sure it's, let's try this. There it is. Now we're in the right key. Should we add a clap onto there? Yes, we should. Track 2, claps on 2 and 4. Okay. And some flavor onto this track here as well. We actually have to do this on a per step basis because we entered these in param lock style. So this one here, gonna throw some reverb, delay, as well as overdrive. Same with this guy. Overdrive, reverb, delay. Let's go. What if we threw an effects over top of that through the 404? So I was experimenting earlier with 303 vinyl sim. Let's hear that. So without, with. Woo! I chose to use one shots in this example. Of course, if you want to rip drums from some other track, you could go ahead and do that and just mix everything together. As I mentioned earlier, the stems that you rip, they're not like the highest possible quality. So I do suggest using, more high-end samples along with the ripped samples. And I think that that makes a really good combination. It's safe to say that this really is like on the cutting edge of sampling and ripping samples. I'll be using it a lot. Thank you guys so much for watching. And by the way, I'm offering discounts for one-on-one lessons for Patreon members, on top of a bunch of other exclusive content. So make sure to check that out. You're welcome to join. We'd love to have you there. Thank you so much to the creators of RipX Hit and Mix for contacting me to do this video. It was super fun. And thanks everyone for being here. See you in the next video.